Lofts it over the middle. Lazard leaping grab. Touchdown, Green Bay. Another great catch by Lazard. Going to the end zone over the shoulder. Catch. Alan Lazard.
I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs for sure. Obviously, having some friends get drafted today was really nice. Obviously, I'm happy for their success. But, going into the day, very anxious, very ambitious, hopeful, and, obviously, being very let down and disappointed in the way the result came out today. But, this is it's nothing new to my life, I've always been, the kid from Iowa, wasn't good enough to play college football. Now that I went to Iowa State. Iowa State will never be good. And now I'm the kid that's undrafted, so it just adds more fire to the story.
Yeah, we've shown that we can do it multiple different ways. Aaron Jones got in 4 times against Dallas. I had 2 touchdowns this past week. Allen got in, so we got different guys all over the place. Sadie's got in. His first one from Aaron, so we got guys everywhere that can make plays, and I like to think we have pretty good depth too.
The fourth quarter against a division rival, a 2nd down and 1 with Aaron Jones in the backfield, and he'll pass on 2nd and 1, and he'll take a shot, and Valdez-Scantling holds it in. MVS trying to be the MVP here, 46-yard reception. Always love the hands-on reporting from Lisa. Good job, Lisa. 2nd and 1. Rodgers extending the play, looking for an option, and finding in stride Mercedes Lewis. Out a couple fumbles in that heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs. Had the interception just moments ago earlier here. 3rd down and 5. Rodgers, same side. And this time, it's in the hands of Lazard. Incredible play. 35-yard touchdown.
It's been very favorable for them tonight, both run and pass.
Empty look at 2nd and 5. They only bring 3. Drop 8. Rodgers looking over his options and then comes back to Lazard, who had the touchdown moments ago and ends up fighting on the sidelines for extra yardage. Gets 12 of it that time. 2nd and 7. Look at the time he has. And somehow Jimmy Graham is able to hold on to that right at the marker, as you see.
It's man-to-man all the way across the field. The Lions do not have a dominant one-on-one rusher, so Aaron Rodgers has all day in the pocket. They try to bump Jimmy Graham. It does not matter. Number 25, Will Harris, is in man-to-man coverage. And I got to think, Aaron Rodgers says, Jimmy Graham against Will Harris, I'll take that matchup as the game is on the line in Lambeau.
Coming off the 2-minute warning here, with Rodgers trying to put them in position. To the near side, gets it complete to Lazard, who has come up big in the last few moments against Justin Coleman.
Against number 27, Justin Coleman. He gets to the top of the route. Nice. He breaks it off, comes down, and Aaron throws a nice dart there. Rodgers knows exactly where he's going before he even catches the football.
You think about Alan Lazard.
Packers wide receiver Davante Adams is going off fantasy draft boards around wide receiver 1, 2, maybe even 3 this year. But if you're looking for his teammate Alan Lazard, you got to go all the way down to wide receiver 66. We're talking about Alan Lazard with 2 of the sharpest minds in fantasy, Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, along with SI Gambling and fantasy analyst Frankie Tadeo. All right, Frankie, let's start with you. When it comes to Alan Lazard, the Green Bay offense needs to get him involved this year. What do you make of him?
Yeah, to be honest, Ben, I actually think that he might be worth, some late round draft capital when you're looking to build that roster construction in the, maybe in the last couple of rounds of your summer drafts that are going to be coming around in July and August. And for me right now, it all depends on what kind of role is he able to carve out behind Davante Adams, as well as Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Devin Funchess? If he can actually earn the number 3 job over Funchess, then we could be looking at a wide receiver 5 that I have right now, with possibly wide receiver 3 or maybe even low-end wide receiver 2 potential if he's on the receiving end of a lot of targets from Aaron Rodgers in 2020. He's definitely a player to keep an eye on, but he's definitely a dart throw that offers tremendous late round potential.
All right, so we got some upside in the form of Alan Lazard from Frankie today. Corey, what about you? I know you're not particularly fond of what you saw last year out of the Green Bay passing game. So if you're not fond of what you're seeing, I would imagine you're not particularly fond of Aaron Lazard. You're not fond of Lazard as well.
Listen, here's how you break it down, Ben. If it's not Davante Adams or Aaron Jones, they're not going to be on my fantasy team. Alan Lazard at wide receiver 66. I get what Frankie's saying as a dart throw. It could pop, it could manifest. But how many years have we looked to Green Bay Packers, that second wide receiver spot, whether it was Economia, St. Brown, or whoever the list of characters, Marquez Valdez Scantling, or you know what I'm trying to say, Marquez Valdez Scantling, whatever list of characters they had out there, it never really took off, and never really popped. Going to the days of Jordy Nelson and guys like that. That Green Bay Packers team, fantasy-wise for me, Davante Adams, Aaron Jones, nobody else.
Plenty of continued breakdowns on the Green Bay Packers as well as the rest of Fantasy Football Risers. You can check it all out by going to si.com/fantasy.
It's time for us to do our part on offense moving forward. We're going to play some, a stretch of really good football teams. And at some point, we can't expect our defense to shut everybody down. They have been, but at some point the offense is going to have to wake up and start making some plays.
Aaron Rodgers talking about the Green Bay Packers offense that has been complemented very, very effectively by the Green Bay defense. And look, it's not a shot at Matt LaFleur. It's not a shot at anyone specifically. It's a general observation.
That's right.
That the offense needs to step up. I'm not trying to cause any trouble here. But here's the reality.
Yeah.
The challenge this week for the first time in Matt LaFleur's head coaching career, turning it around with only 3 days between games, Chris. The Packers benefit from the fact that they played at home on Sunday.
Definitely.
And they played at home on Thursday. And I don't like that. I like it when the home team on a Thursday game is on the road the prior Sunday. So they have to travel home, and that impinges on their ability to prepare for the game, just like the team that is showing up to play on Thursday has to travel at some point during the week. I think that everybody should have one trip between the Sunday and Thursday game. But the Packers do benefit from it, take full advantage of it, use that time to prep, use that time to game plan, use that time to get yourself ready. And this is the opportunity in prime time, 3 weeks after the game against the Chicago Bears where the offense was not great. They had that one stretch, that 4-play, 74-yard drive after the double timeout where they got down the field, they scored the touchdown, and that ended up being the difference in the game. They need to do more than that if people are supposed to believe that this Packers offense is really onto something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been, spotty at best, really. They've shown us little gleams and things of going, ooh, this looks good. I mean, there was that first half of the Minnesota game, in week 2, we saw some, okay, look at this. They're moving the ball up and down the field on the Minnesota Vikings. And, of course, they turned the ball over a little, too, that hurt them. But it is a work in progress. The defense has been carrying the football team to this point. That's why the Packers are dangerous. Because I think, we all sit here and just go, well, it's only a matter of time before they find the right formula with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And they're more dangerous in this sense on offense, Mike, even though they might not be quite as surgical with the intermediate short passing game as years past. The thing I like is they're a better home run team, I think we're seeing right now as far as the passing offense. I mean, because of the run game and we're seeing play action, deep shots, that's going to make them scary and hard to defend. So they definitely have to pick it up. But also, let's not forget, they played the Bears, the Broncos, and the Vikings, which are 3 of the better defenses in football, going to give a lot of offenses some problems.
When we were in Chicago 3 weeks ago for the first game of the season and we did the pregame show, you pointed out that Matt LaFleur, coming from a Tennessee offense that was in the low 20s in 2018, the Packers offense through 3 games is ranked 28th with 286.7 yards per game. Now, that's still very early, but it's 3 games, and we see where the offense is. They're 3-0, so it doesn't matter, but it does matter because at some point their defense isn't going to be able to shut down the opposing offense. enough to allow
Right.
the Packers offense to outscore them.
Yeah, no, that is the concern. Exactly right. When they finally play that team where, oh gosh, our defense can't hold them to 14 or 17 or 20, is that Packer offense going to be able to open up and get involved in a shootout? And we haven't seen them have to do that yet. And I still think that's probably all a work in progress. Like I said, there's things I really like when you watch the offense and you go, ooh, okay, this is cool. This has a chance to be something special, especially like we talked about those play action passes. But yeah, there has to be more of a, just surgical attack in that drop back pass game. And I haven't seen it yet from the Matt LaFleur offense. I mean, yes, whether it was Tennessee last year, and I know they were undermanned in a lot of areas, and I haven't seen it yet this year with Green Bay either. And also to make that point, hey, Green Bay, not necessarily the most talented wide receiving core you've ever seen in football, too. There's a lot of unproven guys there. And I still think they're not only trying to figure out the offense, but trying to figure out, what receivers and what spots give them the best chances to capitalize on some of these plays. And that's when they figure that out, that's why you look at Green Bay and go, ooh, watch out, because there's a lot of things to like about what they're doing as a football team right now.
Hey, what happened against the Vikings once the Vikings decided to take away Davante Adams? They didn't have an answer.
No, they
didn't have
not.
anyone else who could step up and get it done. Somebody at the league office really likes the Green Bay Packers, at least early in the season, hates them later in the season. But for Matt LaFleur to get his career off to a good start, 5 out of 6 home games after the Week 1 game at Soldier Field. I mean, it really is amazing. They go to Dallas, but that's sandwiched between 3 straight home games and then 2 home games after Dallas. That is incredible, Chris, to have that many home games clustered that early in the season. And then they go on the road to Kansas City. They play the Chargers in L.A. Those games are not going to be easy, but, it's the flip side of the Browns, where the Browns have to weather the storm early and hold on and then hit a soft spot in the schedule after Week 10. For the Packers, it's fatten up as much as you can now and hope you can hold on in the back end.
Right, yeah, you're right. It is that. Hey, part of the season is luck. Can we stay healthy? Is the team we're playing missing a major player? Oh, that's great. We're in a great advantage. They're missing their best player. Some of it is scheduling. Just, gosh, what do we got scheduled early on in the year? And you're right. This is a great luxury for the Green Bay Packers, for a team that's kind of finding their way to be able to do that at home especially for the offense where there's no crowd noise and Rodgers can communicate at the line of scrimmage. It's only going to help them that much more down the line when they are on the road and for some of these tough games, whether it's Kansas City 4 weeks from now or whatever, like down the home stretch you talked about. It's set up pretty nice for them to be better in that stretch of the schedule.
Boy, those next 2 road games, though, big challenges
Right.
at Dallas and at Kansas City.
Yikes.
They have some home games before they have to do that, but we'll find out how good the Packers are or aren't when they play Dallas and when they play the Chiefs.
I had the esteemed privilege of meeting a lot of really cool people at Super Bowl, but when people ask me who did I enjoy talking to the most, one name I keep saying over and over again is the young up-and-coming wide receiver from the Green Bay Packers, a man that burst onto the scene last year, Alan Lazard. My man, it is great to have you. You were just saying a lot has changed. The world is not the same,
Not at all.
man, but it is great to see your face.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited. We had a great conversation down in Miami.
Yeah, a lot of interesting nuggets, and I think your social media feed is a lot like mine, where I feel like every day I wake up and I'm thinking about the same things, and I am upset by the same things, and I think I'm exhausted by the same things, and at the same point, I have to talk about it and I have to think about it because I want it to change. And I'm curious how you've been processing these last few weeks.
For the most part, like 2-3 weeks ago, I feel like when everything really started to pop off, it almost felt like it was overwhelming. Anytime you got on social media, you were seeing the same thing over and over constantly. And, for me, I was like, this is just too much. But then I started to realize, this is what needs to happen, to make it more of a conversation, to make it more part of our daily routine, so to speak, to be able to address the issues going on in this world, political and non-political too, of just trying to go out here and try to change what's going on and to be a voice.
I think it's funny because when we first met, I went, "Oh, you're from California," and And as I'm getting ready for today, not only was I surprised that you're from Iowa, I look up Urbandale. I have never seen African Americans are 0.1% in Urbandale, Iowa. Like I've never seen it that low.
That low?
That according to Wikipedia, it's 91% white and 0.1% African American. Did it feel like that growing up?
Yes and no. Growing up in Urbandale, I always tell people we are the whitest black school and the blackest white school. So we are really, a balance in between that. There was a lot of Bosnians that went to my school. So I'm not sure if that falls underneath, the 99% of white people or whatever. But, I think I had for the most part, being in Iowa, the Des Moines area, I think I had a very good amount of diversity in my school. I had friends from multiple backgrounds, multiple walks of life and everything. And obviously in Iowa, it's very limited for that horizon of culture and everything. But for the most part, I was able to expand my friend group, so to speak.
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful thing about sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I grew up in a town where I think it was under 4%, but because I played basketball and I would go into Philadelphia or travel, that's where you learn how to interact with everybody is from sports because it's that level playing field. But I thought of you right away when all this stuff was happening with the Iowa football program. You went to Iowa State. I know your dad went there, your brother went there. But I know that you were recruited by Iowa. And I was curious as we saw everything with the strength and conditioning coach and all the former players coming out, the black players went to Iowa. How did it hit you to see all of those stories? And did any of that ring true to you?
Personally, I have no experience. I don't think I've met their strength coach at all. I've heard plenty about him. Obviously being in Iowa and everything and then going to Iowa State. But unfortunately, it wasn't too big of a surprise for me. And that was kind of somewhat of the stigma at Iowa. And I have more than enough respect for Coach Ferentz and their program and stuff. I very much considered going there, especially when they first offered me. But, it's unfortunate to hear the stories and everything that are coming out from the players, but it's also great to see Coach Ferentz in the actions that he's taken throughout this entire process and the fact that he's owning up to, what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's not, we can't sit here and dwell on the past too much, but we got to focus on the future. And I think he's doing a great job with that.
It is crazy because when you said to me when we first started this, a lot has changed. I didn't even think about the fact that we're all quarantined right now. Like that's how in this we are right now that I didn't even think about.
It's the new norm.
It's wild.
It's the new norm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot has changed. It's really since, left Miami and then probably within the next 3 or 4 weeks, things really started to pop off. And it's been crazy.
I know that you guys have been doing Zoom meetings and now you're in Green Bay. Have you been around the team yet? Has that started?
So I just got on working out with Dean Lowry and then AJ Dillon. So I came here about 10 days ago. And so I've been working out with AJ a few times at this place called Synergy Sports here in Wisconsin or in Green Bay, which is honestly a tremendous facility. It very much surprised me just of being here in Green Bay and whatnot, of being able to have the access to a facility like this with the equipment and the training that we're doing. So very thankful and very grateful for that opportunity.
Also, but I've always heard this about Green Bay and Appleton, that there's no escaping being a Packer in that area
at all
because it's so small. And I'm curious with coronavirus and COVID-19 and also this racial divide in America and trying to fight for equality and equity and all of that. What have the people of Appleton and Green Bay, how have they received you as you've kind of been in the area thus far?
Well, honestly, I hadn't even gone out. So when I first got here, I didn't have a car. So I'm kind of in the whole process of doing that. So I just got a car last Friday. And as soon as I got it, I went back home to Iowa. So I just got back yesterday. So yesterday I was out at Walmart doing some shopping and stuff, getting some appliances for the house. But so far, my interaction with the public has been pretty normal. It seems like,
No one's really stopped to talk about Packers or football or anything yet.
Yeah.
That's a big yet.
Yeah.
But just the culture here, the community, the environment, they've always been embracing and loving completely. So I don't really expect too much to change from that. Maybe just a little bit more open conversations and more awareness of what's going on with the world. But besides that, I expect the same amount of love and respect from everyone.
Is A.J. Dillon as big as he seems?
Bigger.
Really?
Bigger.
I mean, when you get comped to Derrick Henry a lot, like I can imagine, but like you saw him, and what was the original takeaway there?
And I mean, it's just like bionic. Like his shoulders, his tries, his thighs are just huge. His thighs, his quads are like Saquon's. They're massive. He's 250.
It's wild.
250.
It's like a defensive end. So when you're watching him go through the drills, is he just big, or does it also carry over?
He knows how to carry his weight and be able to shift and move. And training with him, it only kind of sucks for me because he's so strong. It's like I can't go down and weight. This is a rookie too. Like hell no, I'm not about to let him outwork me. So he's been great to work well with.
It's interesting because I think about your offense and I think about LaFleur, and everyone went, oh, they're going to try and do what they did with Derrick Henry in Tennessee. And I also think, when it starts getting snowy in Green Bay, to be able to lean on a big back like that, that's how you demoralize another defense, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, just for me in my game, when we get to November, December, I know those DBs don't want to tackle, they don't want to hit. So just from my perspective of being a receiver, I know I can be a little bit more aggressive, or my aggression carries more weight in those cold weather games. And especially the fact that he's from the New England area, played at BC, he's used to playing those cold weather games. So it should be a smooth transition for him this year.
It's funny to me that after the draft, everybody was saying, oh, I wish they got more to help Aaron. And I know a lot of the fan base was kind of upset. But then I think about somebody like you and the fact that, to me, it was almost a vote of confidence for somebody like you. Like, we don't need to take a wide receiver early because we got a guy like Lazard. And I'm curious, did that give you more confidence?
Yes and no. Yes, in the fact of, what took place, of them not picking a receiver or whatever. Just from that perspective, at the end of the day, going into the draft, it didn't matter to me. At the end of the day, we got to show up and I got to go earn a job just like I did last year. And I always invite competition to the room because it's only going to elevate our level of play and make us better. Just from being in this room last year, being around Devontae every single day, watching him, being around Jimmy Graham and Mercedes, I've taken a little bit of my game from them as well. So, the better talent, the more people that we have are able to elevate the room. You're only as good as your worst player. And, I always stand by that quote, and I think it reigns for a lot of our success.
I have had a chance to hang out and interview and meet Malcolm Jenkins now over and over again. And it hurt me to watch him cry after Drew Brees' comments came out. And I'm so thankful that he released his original video, because I think it is important to see the impact of words. And almost immediately, Rodgers came out and spoke what he said. And I was curious how much pride it gave you guys on that team to know that your quarterback came out immediately and said that this is not okay, and we know why he was kneeling, and it's important. Like, what kind of pride did that give you guys?
Tremendous. I mean, it's, the post only solidified more so what Aaron is and his characteristics and, just who he is as a person. Even if you didn't post that, there was no doubt about, his unwavering support of the African-American community with police brutality and kneeling and everything. So him and just, him going out and making sure that he publicly says, and, he owns up to his words and he lives by those words every single day. Obviously that just creates a lot of comfort, and, I think, he raises any tension that could have possibly stirred up just from this whole incident going on and whatnot. But the fact that we have been addressing it multiple times throughout our quarantine meetings on Zoom and stuff. You know, we've had conversations in our wide receiver room. I've had multiple conversations with other players, other friends and family too. So just the fact that we're talking about it every single day and addressing it, I think goes a long ways.
When did you know that Aaron Rodgers truly was an ally, even kind of before all this stuff?
Probably when I first got there, you know. When I first showed up, I kind of just sat back and watched. You know, I didn't really say much, but I just saw how he treated other people, and you know how he treated the coaches, how he treated the training staff, the guys, the cafeteria area, the front office, and then more so just young guys like me. You know, it wasn't just me that he kind of took under his wing. I see him coaching up guys in the practice court all the time, saying, "This is what you need to do better. This is how you can do better." And just seeing him do that on a daily basis is inspirational, and just it's just very comforting knowing that, you know, your quarterback and the leader of your team and everything is doing everything and anything he can to help out everyone in the building.
It's funny to me because you always hear coaches say, when you get in these walls, we're dealing with what we got to deal with, and everything on the outside's on the outside. And this offseason, it's almost impossible for that to be the case. Has it been more conversations about life and what it's like to be a man more than you've ever seen in your life?
Absolutely. You know, just for me personally, it's kind of forced me to open my eyes and to be more aware of what's going on with politics, what's going on with the police brutality and everything, and just being more educated of what's going on in the world. These conversations obviously have been uncomfortable. You know, I've had arguments, I've had disagreements, but at the end of the day, when those conversations end, we both are on the same page. I think that's what, as a society, as individuals, as a community, that we need to do. We need to have those uncomfortable conversations, and you need to voice your opinion. But I think the biggest thing is to be open to other people's ideas and to listen to them, because you can't sit here and argue and try to blast your opinion everywhere, but if you're not going to sit here and be able to listen and hear the other side of the story.
How much tighter do you think teams can get now?
Oh, wow. I mean, something like this especially can, you know, either divide or bring a team together completely and just, you know, really elevate the camaraderie and the chemistry within a team.
I guess I'm curious, has there been a moment that even surprised you thus far, that you kind of sat back and it made you proud to be a Packer?
Say it again.
Has there been a moment that's made you proud to be a Packer that even surprised you through all these conversations?
Was it today? I think it might have been this morning or yesterday, where I saw that the Packers had posted that they're not going to be operating or opening up the facility at all on June 19th because of the historical event. That means obviously to abolishing slavery. So I just you know, that small little gesture, and you know, for me that goes a long way. It's just, you know, just more so the recognition and the acknowledgement of the history and what it means to everyone. I think, you know, that was probably, you know, I mean, not to say that's the only time that I've obviously been proud to be a Packer, but you know, I think that one resonates the most as of lately.
It's just showing that they're listening, and it's showing that they care.
Exactly.
And it's because I know for myself, the notion of to come in on something like Juneteenth and to ask Black men to share it's like, this is a time for celebration, but it doesn't need to be about sharing those stories. Because for me, I can only imagine how exhausting it is to have to be the person that speaks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, this is a time where I'm hearing so many white people say that they want to listen. And it's like, I'm almost seeing the opposite, where I want white people to share and allow Black men to listen and to hear that growth has happened. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think it's just, this whole time, it just needs to be conversation. You know, it shouldn't necessarily be so, like, the changes are going to happen on social media and within the media. It's going to happen with conversations like this, you know, being in the community, talking together as a team and as a group. And, you know, it's going to take small people and small groups to make a large change.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that Packers even owned cars. I just thought you guys rode bicycles everywhere. So What did you go with? I feel like you went with a mid-size sedan.
Oh, no. Not even close. Not even close.
What'd you do?
2019 Durango. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited to get that. Should be getting it within like the next week or so, I believe.
Okay. As a wide receiver that cares about his craft, the wide receiver position, I always feel like, other than quarterback, is the number one where we get the most top 5 lists, and everybody has their own favorites. And oftentimes I look at lists and I don't see Davante. And the 2 guys that I always see neglected the most are Davante and Keenan Allen. I never see them in the list, and they're always the also-rans. And I'm curious, do you think that Davante is on that list, and do you think it upsets him when he's not on those lists?
Top 2 and not 2.
Really?
Davante, the thing that,
I love this, by the way.
The things that he's done with his feet are illegal. They're registered weapons. I think a lot of people acknowledge that Davante is obviously, at the top of his game right now, especially has been for a long time. But I think a lot of the credit gets taken away because he's playing with Aaron. And because Aaron obviously is very at the top of his game too, and just the career that he's had, people, it's hard to distinguish, which one is actually making the play. And it should be both of them. You need to recognize both that, one is obviously a team sport, but those 2 individuals, and the chemistry, and just how they operate together. You look at the Seattle game, and it's 3rd and 5, I think, with a couple minutes to go, and right before the snap, Aaron gives Davante a signal, adjusts his route, and they execute on a perfect play to keep the drive going and be able to run out the clock. And maybe for the average fan, you don't see that, but as a football player, obviously someone that's very involved in the sport. I see the small details like that really separate those 2 guys from anyone else.
It is funny because most people see wide receiver position as these spectacular catches or the range in which they can bring the ball in. But that initial few steps off the line is really the difference between being open and not being open and giving your quarterback that window. What is it about Davante's feet that you call them registered weapons?
I think the thing that he does the best, and what's the hardest about being a receiver, is reacting. And, you can go into a play having a good idea, but at any given moment, you don't know what the DB is going to do. You don't know what the safety is going to do or what coverage they're going to play. You could be thinking one thing, it could be ended up in something completely different. And so that's one of the hardest things about being a receiver, is be able to adjust on the fly, to maintain, it's all about timing, especially in the offense that we run and most of the NFL. It's all about timing and being in the right place at the right time. So when you have to make those adjustments and you get hit with an obstacle, or you have to face some adversity when you're coming off the line, and still being able to get to that position, be in the right spot, be able to still execute a play, even though it may only be 7-8 yards, that's still a win. And like you said, I feel like, especially with the social media, just the way this generation's kind of society's going, they look for the spectacular play, look for the one-handed Odell catch, the touchdown and stuff, but they don't see the blocking, they don't see the being able to take the top off to open it up for someone else. A lot of things, especially because Davante, the past few years, because there hasn't been a supporting cast, he's got a lot of double teams too. And, that obviously takes away from a lot of his success and his production.
When you hear the stories that Zeke got COVID-19 and some members of the Texans, is there a fear in the locker rooms at all that after all these months apart, we're all back together now and who knows what could happen?
A little bit. I mean, I think that's natural and normal to think that way. But for me personally, I don't fear death. So, this whole thing, I just kind of I've tried to be mindful of others, but also I don't want to change, necessarily my life and how I want to live. And to be able to go out there, playing a sport like football where we have to all be together. We have to be, with each other all the time. whether it's in the meeting room or on the practice field. And so it's going to create a lot of obstacles, a lot of different scenarios of how we go about things on a daily basis. But I think overall, I think, you know, once we get back there, I think we'll be able to see and be able to feel each other out a little bit more. But I think the start of sports will kind of help society and us as individuals as well kind of get over this fear of COVID-19.
It's interesting. I just started reading this book called Gates of Fire, and it's about the Battle of Thermopylae when the 300 Spartans stood up to Xerxes and the Persian forces and all of that. Yeah. And it's interesting that very early in the book, one of the older wise men is talking to a young kid, and he said, the main reason we win is because of phobos, or fear, in our opponents. And that if you can conquer that, that can be the deciding factor. And I think it has been interesting to watch our world deal with fear and the different ways in which some people choose to be ignorant to it. Some people respect it and they attack it in that certain way. But I think the fact that you've already stated in yourself that you don't fear death, that you are about living, I think is the first obstacle for so many people to overcome, because they always want to think about the end instead of the now. And I think that's really the first step. And it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah. I just, I had a conversation with my parents the other day when I was back home. My parents are about to turn 50, this year. So they're a little bit older and everything. And, I understand and recognize that, why they may not want to be as going out in the public and whatnot. They want to be a little bit more safe and cautious. But for me, I just feel like there's a million ways you can die, at the end of the day. And you can't just sit here and focus on one way, because if you focus on that, it's going to consume your life. It's going to mess up your energy, mess up your focus. And ultimately, it's going to, then you're trying to survive rather than live.
What do you think the biggest changes to the NFL cycle will be because of coronavirus and all of that? Like, what do you think the big changes will be inside these walls?
I think the medical screening process will be a lot more intense, which it already was. I feel like, obviously, just as being athletes and whatnot, they end up being a business, which makes sense. But I think it'll be a little bit more intense as far as screening goes. But I think the whole fan situation, I think that'll be that for me. That's going to be that's what I'm looking forward to next, of when they're going to address that, what's going to happen with the season, and really just what's going to be the new normality as far as that goes.
Can you imagine catching a touchdown to win the game and hearing
crickets?
What? Like that would. How much do you generate energy off of the fans, and especially at Lambeau?
100%. I mean, if you take out the fans, then it becomes a scrimmage. And for me, and just the way football is, you can't, as much as you want to practice like you play. You want to go and be in game mode every single day, and you do that. But at the same time, you can't do that, because you want to be trained, you'd be exhausted, and physically you'd just be dead. That's why we don't tackle, obviously, and stuff. But just getting that energy from the crowd, that gets your adrenaline pumping a little bit more. It makes, when you're tired, you can push through those moments a little bit harder, because the crowd noise is drowning you out. And for me, it almost creates a focus, just having that white noise there, and then obviously scoring a touchdown. What the Lambeau Leap without Lambeau?
You would just fall into the seats.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting.
If there was no crowd noise, and I know you got to go soon. If there was no crowd noise, I don't want them to pump it in, because the other benefit, and this would be for the fans, is we get to hear everything on the field. And I'm hearing some people come out and say the fans wouldn't be ready to hear all of that stuff. Is that accurate? Like, what are we not ready for?
For me personally, I'm a different person on the field. And mentally, I have to make that switch, because I'm playing a physical, violent sport. And I can't be the nice, conversating guy like I am right now. I have to be able to achieve my goal. And I know I say a lot of things that I probably shouldn't say, or I don't remember saying. And most of the time, I'm not really big of a trash talker, but if someone's barking at me, I'm gonna bark back, and it's just gonna fire me up even more. So I saw Deshaun Jackson, he was kind of the first guy to throw that idea out there, which I'm all for because of entertainment. It'll connect, make fans and players connect a little bit more. I feel like you'll get to know them and be a little bit more personal. But at the same time, I know I say a lot of bad things and a lot of things I'm not proud of. So, I just hope that fans and people are able to kind of distinguish between the player and the person because there is a different mindset, a different state of mind that you are in when you are playing, especially in a very intense game, playoff games, Monday Night Football, you know what I'm saying, fourth quarter games on the line. You've been going at it the whole time. It's a division rivalry. You know what I'm saying? So,
do you have a nickname for yourself when you're out there?
A nickname? I mean, a lot. I go by Laz a lot. I like Laz.
So when you go out there, it's Laz.
Yeah. So when I get ready for the game,
Lazard focus.
So I probably take a shower 4 hours or so before the game, and once I take that shower, that's when I really start my process of getting ready, and kind of I start to get dressed, get groomed up, start feeling good, go eat my pregame meal, listen to my music, and I really start to slowly get into that mode. And then by the time kickoff is around, I'm Laz.
That's awesome. Laz. You are the man. I'm going to call you Alan because this has been a very pleasant conversation. I'm sure you got a lot of meetings and stuff. Continued success. A true player on the rise. I will always be a fan. Alan Lazard, you are the man, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, Adam. Hopefully I'll be able to see you.
We'll talk soon.
Another interview in person. Maybe practice social distancing, but we'll still be in face to face.
Yeah, it'll be like 60 minutes with some light kits, 6 feet away. I'm down.
There we go.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Yeah,
man.
you too. God bless.
See you, man. You too. All right, and that was Alan Lazard. Thank you guys as always. Holla, holla, holla. I am the LEFKOE man. I am going to leave you with one thing because I did promise a lesson every time. First, I want to say to everybody out there that has DM'd me, that has said that the podcast as of late have really resonated with them. I hear you. I see you. And thank you. I had a chance. I don't know if you guys have Amazon Prime. But they recently made James Baldwin, I think it's a documentary following the writing of one of his books. The name of the documentary is called I Am Not Your Negro. And there was one line, the lessons that I want to teach are not always factual and percentages and statistics. This one, sometimes it's just a quote. And when he said it, I paused it and sometimes I just really appreciate really thoughtful, impactful things. And he said, and this was at a debate, if any white man in the world says, give me liberty or give me death, the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one. And everything possible is done to make an example of this bad, so there won't be any more like him. And I think it's just a thing to think about. Think about our world. Don't be afraid of it. Stand up. Don't sit down. Speak. Don't remain silent. And I know that this can be exhausting. There are moments that I am going through this where I am exhausted. And I wake up the next day and I read more because the way we change is to not stop. So I love you guys. I am so proud of the messages you're sending me and the things that you're DMing me and the conversations, and keep it going. People have reached out to me already about causes we can support. My man Ezel is already wondering, do we do something with the Left Go Fantasy Gridiron League, the LFGL, to support some causes? I don't like taking money from you guys. Unless you guys think it's a good idea that we do it and it all goes to somewhere. This isn't about monetization. You guys have done enough just by listening that I don't really want to go into your pockets because I know that not everybody's in a place. But if you guys think that we do something with the LFGL, candidly, I do enjoy it being free because I think it is fun. But If we all do $10, I'll leave it up to you guys. So let me know. But I hope you guys are doing your 15 minutes of education, your 15 minutes of action. And I love you a lot. We have some more players coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going to be doing back to Inside the NBA. That's going to be starting the beginning of July, and that will be crazy. And it looks as though I'm going to be doing a show for Bleacher Report that is very similar to the Mohamed Sanu episode of Ditch the Playbook last year. I'll have more information on that coming up. But in the meantime, I love you. I appreciate you. Keep on keeping on. Holla, holla, holla. I'm the LEFKOE man. We'll holla at you guys next week. Peace.
My first year, really getting some experience was awesome. Just be able to make it to the NFC Championship was a true blessing. Obviously, came one game short of our goal of coming to the Super Bowl here in Miami and winning it. But just getting that experience, that knowledge for next year, I think will really help me and the team as well.
What were some of your first impressions of playing with Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron has a very particular way of playing. The way he likes you to run routes, just kind of his demeanor and everything. So it's kind of an adjustment a little bit. Definitely never played with someone of his caliber of talent for sure, and his demand of excellence. But it's been great, and just kind of developing that relationship with him has been really cool.
The Packers suffered quite a few wide receiver injuries this year, which kind of landed you in a bigger spot. What kind of helped you to embrace that role and do so well? Just being really motivated, wanting to go out there and win every single game. When people get hurt, that's just part of the game, and it's got to be the next person up. We always say next man up, next man up. And I was very fortunate to capitalize with the opportunities that I was given and just kind of keep it going from there. What are some of the things that you're planning to work on this offseason?
I can't wait to go in this offseason, honestly. Just now that I have a full knowledge of, the NFL, getting that experience, knowing what to do in the offseason, how to train and who to be with, and how to get better. I'm really excited to attack this offseason and really working and honing on my craft.
When you're not playing football, what are some of the things that you enjoy doing?
When I'm not playing football, I love to chill, kick it with the homies. I like skiing a lot, I like being outdoors. I really love nature. Really trying to get into reading too, so if anyone's got a book that they want to recommend,
do you have any?
I'm really trying to start reading again, so that's a big thing I want to do this offseason.
Do you have any book recommendations? What's your favorite?
I don't, but I can't think of the book's name. See, that's what's gonna make me mad. I'm gonna have to search it up, but there's definitely some good books I read this past year.
How about music? Any favorite artists?
Music, I'm a pretty big music fan. I would say my favorite artist right now would be this guy named Five. It's spelled with the 5, I-V-E. He's actually my roommate. Manny Wilkins plays for the Packers, but he makes music basically every day. He's always singing. He's got a couple of good songs. But yeah, I love listening to his music every single day. He's gonna produce something soon. Hopefully put it out to the world, and hopefully everyone will love it as much as I do.
Are you, I know as an NFL player, you often have to have a pretty strict diet, but do you have any cheat day favorites?
My cheat food would definitely probably be like cheesecake. I think cheesecake's my favorite, just digging in, not caring about the outcome of it.
Is there somewhere that has your favorite cheesecake?
Cheesecake Factory.
What flavor?
Strawberry for sure. Strawberry. You need a little fruit in there just to kind of give it a little sweet taste.
Was there a moment that you had either this year or last year that was kind of your welcome to the NFL moment?
My welcome to the NFL moment, I think it was just the first game this season, playing at Soldier Field to kick off the NFL season of the 100th year and whatnot, and the rivalry between us was kind of a real surreal moment of I'm here and I'm part of this, and I was just so thankful and so blessed just to kind of be in that moment, and I'll never forget that.
Is there a teammate who you've kind of grown a special bond with, or someone that you've really enjoyed getting to know this year?
Absolutely. Besides my roommate, Manny, who we really, kind of increased our relationship this year, I would say Kevin King. Kevin King, someone who's looked out for me since day one. Real cool dude, and works hard every day, and I really enjoy going to work with him.
You mentioned that you enjoy skiing. Do you have any favorite ski spots?
Well, I just hit Breckenridge, Colorado a few days ago. That was really fun. Right now, it's my favorite so far this year. I'm trying to get out to Vail and Aspen, hit those. I definitely want to hit Buttermilk. But my biggest quest is to get across sea to what's the country?
Switzerland.
It's Swiss. I want to go to the Swiss Alps for sure.
Any other exciting off-season plans? Traveling at all?
No. I mean, this off-season, I just really plan on kind of just really honing in on my craft and kind of figuring out this whole pro life thing and just kind of making as much fun out of it as I can.
Is there something that you enjoy doing in Green Bay that's not football related?
I'm trying to think of what the place is called. We should have I really like going to the restaurants in Green Bay, especially cheese curds. I'm a huge cheese curds fan, huge cheese connoisseur. So being in Green Bay, that's a huge plus, and be able to go to any restaurant knowing that there's going to be cheese curds on the menu is a sigh of relief.
Is there a defensive back you went up against this year who you would say was your toughest competition? You're not looking forward to facing again?
I'm honestly I'm excited to face every opponent next year. You know, I never really focus too much on who's across the field, more so just on myself. But you know, I always love a challenge. I really want to go against Jalen Ramsey again because I had practice against him in Jacksonville, so I want to play him in a game. So I'm kind of looking forward to eventually having that matchup with him.